welcome to this edition of The Current Report, our weekly roundup of what's happening in the world of digital media. This week, we're looking ahead to the ad industry's biggest event of the year, the Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity, which is celebrating its 70th birthday. It kicks off next week in the south of France, and The Current will be on the ground bringing you daily reports from the heart of the action. Of course, the festival's main focus is the creative work that's been done over the last year and who's going to snag one of the coveted lions. We've been talking to creative leaders about which campaigns they think could win. To find out more, go to our website, thecurrent.com. We'll also be covering other key moments beyond the Palais. As ever, big tech will have a big presence. This year, Netflix is making its official debut at the festival, right next door to Apple and Amazon. And Spotify will be back on the beach, hosting daytime and nighttime events featuring everyone from Trevor Noah to the Foo Fighters. Our main story this week is on Europe's General Data Protection Regulation, better known as GDPR, which turned 5 in May. The landmark legislation was designed to protect European consumers and help define how companies should handle their data in the modern internet age. 5 years on, much has changed, not least the rise of generative AI, which is another cause for concern as users continue to share even more personal data with the chatbots. Well, we've been talking to British advertising leaders about the impact of GDPR, and our reporter Zach Wang in London joins me now. Hi, Zach.
Hey, Damien.
Big picture, what are ad execs saying about GDPR and its effects on the industry?
Yeah, I think what I've heard from a lot of British advertising leaders that I've spoken with is GDPR has really put privacy first, front and center in their minds, but of course also in consumers' minds. Now people are much more aware of really their data online and being tracked and data trails and so on. And of course that's resulted in basically all companies really having a data policy now.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, the laws had some unintended consequences, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely unexpected, but overall, I've heard positive things. One of them is definitely a sort of resurgence, if you will, of creativity. So, companies having to really come up with new ways to obtain consented data from customers. It could be, your 10% off in exchange for an email and so on. But there's definitely a lot more focus on that, and also really understanding that first-party data is extremely important right now, and but all of these really come together in their minds to really create a better advertising experience for people. I think that's what I've kind of been hearing is that's really their goal here.
Yeah, so overall, a positive effect. But you note in your report that the rise of AI could pose a challenge for GDPR going forwards. Is it a case of technology evolving faster than the lawmakers can handle it or regulate it?
Well, that's an interesting question. I will say the stakes are very high here. On one side, you've got the danger of really taking user data, without controls, without guardrails, if you will. On the other side, you've got the argument for having space, right, for innovation and for technology really to develop. So obviously, it's a very fine line to walk, and the leaders, that I've spoken to, they acknowledge that, and they know it's not going to be easy moving forward. But they also look at GDPR, for example, and the lessons that has brought the industry. The big focus on privacy, and they really hope that can carry on as well into this new environment.
Thanks very much, Zach. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch what happens with GDPR over the next 5 years. Next, our weekly roundup of what's making news across the internet. The European Commission has filed a formal antitrust complaint against Google and its ad business. It alleges that the company has abused its dominant position in the digital ad market and argues that Google favors its own online display ad tech services to the detriment of its competition. In an opinion, the Commission said that forcing Google to sell off parts of its business may be the only remedy. In a statement, Google said it disagreed with the complaint and called digital advertising a highly competitive sector. And finally, Sir Paul McCartney says he's used artificial intelligence to help create what he calls the final Beatles record. He told the BBC that the technology was able to extricate John Lennon's voice from a lo-fi demo. what McCartney called a ropey little bit of cassette. It was one of several songs that Lennon recorded shortly before his death in 1980. McCartney didn't name the song, but he said it would be released this year. I guess it really is a case of all you need is AI. And that's all from this edition of The Current Report. We'll be back next week when we'll be reporting from the Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity. A biento.